back to the NBA and these conference finals. Celtics got blown out last night by the Heat, 128-102. And guess who? Magic Johnson took to Twitter to share his thoughts. The Lakers great tweeted, "It's time for the Boston Celtics to make major changes. In my 44 years of being associated with the NBA, I never thought I'd see a Boston Celtics team, a franchise with 17 championships, quit. I know Celtics fans all over the world must be disgusted and devastated." Magic also tweeted his apology to the Nuggets and was critical of the Lakers after LA also goes down 0-3 in their series. Man, those are some strong words, Shannon. Big deal or no big deal that arguably the greatest Lakers says the Celtics quit and need to make these major moves?
Well, anytime you get a historically great, an all-time great player commenting in any particular sport, it's going to generate news because people are like, okay, that's Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
It's just like in football, if Peyton Manning says something, that's Peyton Manning speaking. And so when these legendary figures speak, people listen. And from what Magic saw, he's like, in all my years, I've never faced a Boston Celtic team that laid down like this. I've never seen a Boston Celtic team lay down like we saw this team. They came out, didn't have any energy, turning the ball over. I mean, we showing the clips in the montage that Jason Tatum just basically handed the ball to him. Jaylen Brown just basically slip-sliding his way, and he's handing the ball to him. And so he's looking like, do y'all realize y'all lost 2 games on your home court? And you just thought what? They was going to feel fat cat happy that they got 2 games and was just going to lay down and let you guys just waltz in here and take it away? Yep. No, when you go on the road, you got to snatch the victory. They're not going to give it to you, Skip. And but Miami's doing something, Skip, that we don't normally see, Skip. They're shooting 48% from the three. They normally shoot 34%, Skip.
They were 27th in three-point shooting.
Not in first in three-point shooting in the playoffs.
Yep.
So they're doing things that's unprecedented. But it doesn't change the fact that they broke the Celtic spirit yesterday. Skip, I'm not going to say they quit, but it broke their desire to compete.
It did.
Because you see the body language, it was just like, I'll take the ball out, here you go. And I don't know what changes. I guess Magic has said we got to maybe break Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum up. I just don't see those 2 guys. I just don't see the Celtics paying over $600 million to keep those 2 guys, Skip. That's why I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's going to want I think he's going to want a max contract, and maybe you can move him. Maybe Golden State. Y'all take Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole. We'll take Jaylen Brown and keep Draymond. I don't know how you're going to do it, Skip.
Yeah.
But it was a very disappointing. It was a very hard watch yesterday. It was a very hard watch.
So last night after 3 quarters, when I did think they quit or got demoralized in the 3rd quarter, they went 1 for 12 from 3 in the 3rd quarter. Got blown off the floor.
Right.
I tweeted that somewhere Magic and Bird have to be groaning and rolling their eyes because I covered all those finals between Magic and Bird. I covered the NCAA finals in Salt Lake City, 79, when Magic and Larry Bird put the Final Four on the map.
Yeah.
Nobody really cared until those two.
They did.
A black star and a white star.
Yep.
Boom, came together and took it up to levels that it still enjoys as we speak.
Yep.
It became March Madness because of those 2. Their finals against each other, as you know, were just flat out legendary.
Because it was the Lakers and the Celtics, and they'd had a history throughout the 60s. They met in the finals every year, 8 times out of 10 years, Skip?
It got to the point where Ernestine and I went on Broadway, this is 10, 12 years ago, to see the play. It's called Magic Bird. They did it on Broadway, and it had a nice run. And it was about Magic versus Larry Bird and their off-the-court rivalry that became, weirdly, a deep friendship. So you got all that operating. And then I'm thinking last night or this morning when I first saw these tweets from Magic, I didn't know he tweeted this last night, and I'm thinking of all those friends of mine who bleed green up in Boston. They bleed green, and they are bleeding right now.
Yeah.
For, in their eyes, what they consider to be the greatest Laker, to blast their franchise the way he did. and it hurts because they know it's true.
Right. Because he said, this is a proud franchise. He said, he mentioned they've got 17 titles like the Lakers.
Yeah.
And to give that type of performance when you're down 0-2, Skip, I mean, from Joe Mazzulla, he could be right. Maybe he didn't have him ready to play. But at some point in time, we don't give Joe Mazzulla no credit when he get it right when they win. Oh, did you see Jason Tatum score 51, 10, and 5? That's never happened before. And Jaylen Brown, when he's doing his thing, poor Joe Mazzulla don't get any credit. The moment they lose, they weren't ready to play. And so Magic is like, I've never seen it. In my 44 years, and I played the Celtics a lot. Yeah. When it mattered the most in games like this, Skip, that means the NBA Finals versus the Eastern Conference Finals, but I ain't never seen them lay down like this.
Right. This was the game. This is the game where if you have half a basketball brain, you just know we got to go out and win this game. This was a game the Celtics were favored to win by 2.5. They were favored by 8 the first night, 9 on Friday night in game 2, 2.5 last night. Shannon, it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
For anybody who has grown up following that franchise, you just can't live with it because it's just flat out wrong.
Right.
You know and I know.
Yeah, for sure.
What happened last night in the third quarter was just wrong. They fall behind by 33 points.
That's unacceptable.
And Kenny Smith saying on Inside the NBA, it looked like a closeout game, a fourth game in which they were being swept. Only they got to play game 4. This is just game 3.
Yeah, look at Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is shooting 37% from the floor.
Yep.
From the 2, he's shooting 20% from 3.
Yep.
And guess what? And Jason Tatum has made
2 of 20.
Yeah, 2 of 20. Jason Tatum isn't much better. He's 5 of 20. But guess what? 3 games. Now, he sat out this game in the fourth quarter. He ain't scored any points. Now, that's a first-team All-NBA player. Now, you tell me how that Joe Mazzulla's fault. That Jason Tatum in 3 games, okay, this game notwithstanding,
the one game we did Friday, he didn't take a shot in the fourth quarter, right? Of game set 2. Game 2.
Mm-hmm. So that's 2 games. So that's 3 games. 2 we're going to count. 0 points.
I think it's game 1 that he didn't take a shot in the fourth quarter. Go ahead. Yeah.
I don't know what he didn't do, but I just know he ain't got no points. So he like me. He getting money, and I'm sitting at home eating Lay's. And I ain't got no points. I ain't got no points on the board. He in the game, ain't got no points on the board.
Nope.
Jaylen Brown turning the ball over. You know, Jaylen Brown he's really biting his tongue because there's something going on in that locker room. I don't know what's going on in the locker room. I know when they get their ass out there on that court, what ain't going on.
Yep.
I can see that.
You can see.
I'm biting my tongue right now because what I really want to say what's going on between those two, your 2 best players, ain't getting it done. So while they bite their tongue, ain't telling you what's going on in the locker room, I need them to speak freely and talk about what's not going on the court.
Yes. And to your first point, Jaylen Brown made first-team All-NBA for a second straight year.
Jason Tatum did.
Jason Tatum, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum made first-team All-NBA for a second straight year, and Jaylen Brown made second team. And Malcolm Brogdon was the sixth man of the year. Whew, that's a lot of hardware.
Yeah, and he out there playing like Juwanna Man, got no points.
He got no points. It's just hard to believe that happened. And it's even harder for me to believe that at home this year in the playoffs, Shannon, they're 4-5. They've lost 5 home games. Even under Ime last year, they were losing home games because over the last 2 years now, they're 10-11 at home.
Yeah.
11?
So they won't stop turning the ball over.
Okay. Once upon a time, back in Larry Bird's day, you couldn't. Hey, it was either Larry or the Leprechaun.
Yeah.
Well, one or the other was going to get you.
Well, Skip, for 3 decades, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, you weren't going there and beating them.
Don't get me started on Mr. Russell's teams because they
beat, when you win as many championships, Skip, they just wasn't winning the home games in Boston. They were beating people in their building, too. And in the 70s, they won.
I mean, go back to the 60s, the Celtics owned the Lakers. Just owned them.
Yes. They beat them like 8 times.
Oh, God. And so now the lifelong diehards have to read that Magic Johnson said you quit and you can't argue.
He ain't lie.
Yeah. And there you go. That's the problem.
He ain't lie.
Yeah. And changes do need to be made. And you're going to have to start with, you're going to have to break these 2 up because it hasn't got you anywhere.
Yeah.
And you can't pay them both, as you said.
Yeah. One is in line to get 318. The other is in line to get like 290.
Yeah.
What? For what? And Skip, they got me. Look, you understood playing Clay and Steph, because they winning your titles. What a grocery.
Can't.
You want me to open a restaurant, I ain't got no groceries. You bring me some groceries and I can tell you how much the bill need to be.
Yeah.
Well, I can't pay that kind of bill with no food.
Wow. Mm.
And the fact they've been close before. It's not like this is a first-year playoff team struggling to know what it takes to win. All right, guys. Shannon, get ready. Are we witnessing the end for LeBron? I know this is going to be painful for you to discuss. That's next right here on Undisputed.